The ground shuddered beneath Lieutenant Marin Ward's boots as the emergency beacon screamed through Rift Command. She skidded around a corner, colliding with the burly engineer, Priya Das. Sparks flew overhead. Everything reeked of ozone and panic. "Out of my way, Das!" Marin barked. Her gray-streaked hair clung to her brow, sweat slicked along her jawline. Priya's palm shot to Marin's shoulder. "We lost connection with Recon Team Gamma. 2 of them are gone. Just gone, no readings." Marin shoved past. "Another collapse?" "Not yet, but the whole Nexus is groaning. If it blows..." The world-ending scenario didn't need to be spoken. Inside the operations dome, holoscreens flickered with collapsing portal feeds. Commander Jiro's image materialized, jaw clenched. "Ward, assemble a Riftwalker team. Go in, stabilize the anomaly, bring back data. And Ward, you're leading." Marin's hands twitched. She'd sworn never to cross the threshold again. Not since Yara's sacrifice, but she met Jiro's stare, refusing to flinch. "Send me the roster." He smiled grimly. "You don't have one. The only available crews, non-standard." Within minutes, 4 figures gathered. Priya, the engineer with a terror of combat. Vex, the wisecracking hacker fresh from disciplinary. Lieutenant Rios, a by-the-book soldier desperate to earn his stripes. And Twist of Fate, a taciturn alien exile, Arkin, their Rift bondmate, barely trusted even now. Each eyed Marin warily. Vex broke the tension. "So, who dies first?" Marin snorted. "Probably the one who talks too much. Listen, this isn't a salvage run. Portals are destabilizing, possibly universe-ending. Stick together or you'll fry." Arkin's voice barely rose above the hum. "Outbound readings signify an uncharted civilization. They are intense." Rios double-checked his gear. "How intense?" Priya exhaled hard. "They have tech we haven't even dreamed of." "You sure you're up for this, Ward?" She paused, staring into the swirling blue rift. Her voice was low but steady. "No one's ever ready. But it's our turn to walk the rift." The world twisted, light fracturing. The rift roared, swallowing them whole. For Marin, the pain of loss echoed in her chest, but as a second, fiercer wave swept them forward, she felt something else. Fragile hope. This was humanity's last shot to set things right. The chapter closed as the team stumbled into a realm that defied geometry, ringed by monolithic structures, alien script pulsing red at their base. The adventure had truly begun. Marin's boots touched ground first. Her eyes watered, colors bled in and out of focus. The sky ran like molten copper overhead, while a wind carried whispers in a language her mind shouldn't have recognized. "Everybody up," she ordered, voice gravelly. Rios blinked, clutching his head. Priya scanned a handheld, knuckles white. Vex popped to his feet, eyes wide. His words tumbled out. "Check that sky! Are we inside? A painting?" Arkin's form shimmered. He knelt, touching the blood-red soil. Geometric metrics, fluctuating, non-Euclidean. Rios frowned at Priya. "Is your scanner busted?" Priya shook her head. "Nope. Something here is rewriting the laws of physics. It's like we're walking on the edge of a dream that could collapse at any moment." Marin swept her gaze to the horizon. Beyond the alien monoliths, strange figures moved, humanoid shapes, crystalline armor flashing. "Company, 4 o'clock. Weapons ready, but don't point unless I say." The crystalline beings approached in perfect formation, their steps soundless on the shifting terrain. One, tall as a tree, with fractal tattoos glowing along its faceted arms, halted a meter away. Its voice reverberated inside Marin's skull. "Outsiders breach domain. Explain or be dissolved." Vex whistled under his breath. "Direct approach, huh?" Rios tensed, trigger finger itching. Arkin stepped forward, his voice calm, shifting to match the alien cadence. "We traverse the rift, unintended breach. Our world faces collapse. We seek counsel and aid." The towering being cocked its head, facets shifting, collapse. Pattern repetition. Your passage stirs the matrix, advancing anomaly. Priya caught Marin's eye, lips moving without sound. "They know." Marin straightened, fear hammered down by duty. "You're in danger too. If the anomaly spreads, your world folds into nothing. We want the same thing, to survive." The crystalline leader turned. "Follow or dissolve." Vex grinned. "No dissolving on my watch." They moved together toward a vast archway. As they approached, Arkin leaned close to Marin. "They are not bluffing. If we make a single misstep here, we improvise," Marin whispered back. "That's what humanity does best." They passed into the arch. On the other side was a city alive with impossible architecture, bridges twisting between floating towers, rivers flowing upward. Citizens stared with dozens of eyes, all suspicious, some curious. The team's path led to an obsidian council chamber where patterns spiraled on the walls. Before them stood a dais, and the crystalline leader raised its hands. "Speak, prove your intent, Riftwalkers, or your worlds will both be undone." Marin's throat tightened, but she squared her shoulders. The fate of the multiverse, she realized, might rest on her next words. The Council's judgment, friend or foe, would make all the difference. A prism-light haze shimmered over the Council dais as Marin stepped forward. The crystalline leader's glare caught her, cold and geometric, as hundreds of translucent heads turned toward the Riftwalkers. She cleared her throat, words brittle but unyielding. "We risked everything breaching your domain," Marin began. "Not to pillage or conquer, but to save us all. Our portals connect realities. Now something's poisoning the whole network. If it isn't fixed, your world, ours, every world could unravel." Vex nudged Rios, half whispering. "When she uses that save us all line, you know things are bad." The Council's fractal patterns pulsed, cycling swiftly, a silent debate. Arkin watched closely, lips barely moving. They communicate in probability streams and intent. A single misinterpretation, and boom, Priya breathed. Rios kept tense, sidearm hidden beneath his jacket. "What if they just don't believe us?" Marin shot him a look. "Then we give them proof." Suddenly, the chamber dimmed. A cylindrical relay floated down, humming, then projected swirling rift anomalies. Rift destabilization, world rupture flows, quantum fractures, as if the domain itself displayed what was happening. Every problem, every cost. The Council murmured, resonant tones that vibrated through bone. The leader fixed its gaze on Marin. "Intent accepted, but the pattern breaker, a force, corrupts the Matrix's heart. Your presence accelerates risk. Why should we trust you to mend what you may destroy?" Priya swallowed hard, "Because we've stopped worse before. You want stability? Let us help you isolate the anomaly. Show us how your world's core works." A faint tremor ran through the Council. One figure stood, smaller, with sapphiric lattice limbs. Show. Act. Success or dissolution. Without warning, the Riftwalkers' handheld consoles flickered wildly. The city's structures shifted as if bracing for a storm. Outside, the skyline rippled, some buildings warping, others crumbling, all defying gravity. The pattern breaker's shadow loomed. Vex's eyes darted from screen to skyline. Boss, that doesn't look like later. That looks like now." Marin clenched her fists. "Let us work. If we fail, you can dissolve us yourself." The Council leader's eyes flashed. "Agreed. Success or oblivion. Our core is open to you now. Prove your worth, Riftwalkers, before both our worlds collapse." As the chamber's walls parted to reveal a spiraling descent into the city's heart, Marin felt the hopes of two realities riding on her battered team. This wasn't just a mission. It was a reckoning, and failure was unthinkable. The spiral descent triggered primal dread in Marin as the Riftwalkers followed their crystalline escort deep beneath the city. Cold light reflected off mirrored corridors, shifting with each step. A maze alive, rearranging, surveilling. Every footfall echoed as if 1,000 spectral eyes watched. Priya ran her fingers along the wall, murmuring diagnostics as her scanner pinged wildly. "These readings? The energy composition is closer to thought than electricity. As if this place thinks about us." Vex couldn't hide his unease. "I'd vote for it doesn't eat us as its next thought." Arkin's gaze sharpened. "This is the Matrix core. Harm here, and their world folds." A massive crystalline node pulsed ahead, suspended over a chasm. Energy bolts flickered around it, sometimes forming faces, sometimes symbols Marin's mind rejected. The escort gestured, and a bridge of fractal light unfolded beneath their feet. Rios whispered out the side of his mouth, "Anyone else feel like one wrong step ends us?" Marin kept her eyes on the goal. Quiet focus. We're not the only ones hunting. As they crossed, shadows swept above, the pattern breakers advance. Structures distorted. The node's glow faltered, pulses irregular, like a heart skipping beats. Priya sprang into action, linking her console with trembling hands. "I can stabilize it, if I can sync with their interface, but I'll need time." Vex's fingers flew across his own device, hacking through coded shields. "I'm in too." boosting the power, translating symbols. Holy, these people rewired reality itself. Sudden shrieks ripped through the corridor as phantoms materialized. Anomalies bent by the pattern breaker, spectral figures clawing at the bridge. Rios drew his weapon, firing energy bursts that barely slowed them. Arkan threw himself between Priya and the phantoms, projecting a shield of translucent light. Do not let them touch the node. The pattern breaker corrupts what it can reach. The bridge quaked as more anomalies smashed against Arkan's shield. Sweat poured down Priya's brow. System's giving me feedback, psychic, not just code. It's showing me visions, loss, hope, everything. Marin, it wants trust. Marin stepped to Priya, hand on her shoulder. Her voice steadied, low and clear. We do this together. Sync the team through me. Channel it all. Priya hesitated, then nodded. Energy surged, and the Riftwalkers felt as one, memories, regrets, determination flashing between them. The node pulsed, strengthening, fending off the pattern breaker. Just for now, the assault relented. The crystalline escort regarded the team with something like awe. You have drawn the Matrix's attention, it intoned. But be warned, the pattern breaker's origin is older than your portals. To stop it, you must confront what lies in the dark archives. Rios exhaled, adrenaline mixing with dread. That's not in the brochure. Marin's reply was grim and full of steel. This team survives because we do what everyone else can't. Show us the way. Above, the Matrix stabilized for the moment, but every Riftwalker knew. The true threat waited deeper still, and time was running out. Guided by their crystalline escort, the Riftwalkers slipped from the throbbing core through a spiraling tunnel, deeper into the unknown. Walls grew darker here, the shimmer of the city fading. Instead, streams of shadow writhed along the surface, images half-formed, memories, ghosts, warnings. Vex swallowed, bravado gone. Anyone else feel like we're walking into a haunted brain? Priya clutched her scanner close. It's a memory vault. The data density is unreal. If we're not careful, we could go mad. She forced herself to look at Marin. We probably shouldn't touch anything. Arkan's step faltered, features tight. I sense old sorrow. My people speak of places where failed timelines bleed in. At the corridor's end, a vast hexagonal arch loomed. Crimson runes spiraled over its surface. The council escort halted. The Dark Archives contain records of every attempted collapse and pattern fracture. It also houses the pattern breaker's birth. The voice echoed lower, almost mournful. Enter, knowing you risk annihilation of self and all you carry. Marin's jaw set. We didn't come this far to turn back. She motioned her team onward. Inside, the air thickened. Hollows shimmered. Tall as giants, playing out scenes of world-ending mistakes. Priya gasped, eyes wet. That's Earth's first collapse. The Manhattan Rift. Vex drifted to another holocube, a humanoid figure wrapped in shadow, tearing open quantum reality with a device disturbingly familiar. A rift generator. Human design corrupted. That's it. That's the pattern breaker. It's one of us? Rios stared, unsettled. Someone from the original Nexus teams. But why? Why sabotage everything? Suddenly the hollows flickered and grew monstrous. The shadow figure turned, faceless but watching. The air shivered. The pattern breaker spoke without sound, words carving icy dread through their minds. You were always the flaw, the chaos in the code. Arkan faltered, but Marin stepped forward, fighting the pull. We're not here to break. We're here to rebuild. The darkness pressed close, the archives vibrating with power. Priya gripped Marin's arm, voice shaking but fierce. We can rewrite the fracture. I think I see how. It'll take all of us aligned. But we have one shot. The team drew close, Arkan sounding a warning. It will fight. It will break your hearts before it lets you fix this. Marin's eyes met each of her crew in turn, fire washing away old fear. We do this together. Or not at all. Ready? Rios nodded with new resolve. Priya's hands steadied. Vex even cracked a ragged grin. Arkan's eyes met Marin's, loyalty shining bright. United, they braced themselves, stepping further into the heart of humanity's oldest mistake, where the pattern breaker waited to strike, and the fate of every world hung by a thread. Inside the core of the Dark Archives, the lights flickered and warped, reality bending around the Riftwalkers as if the past itself was restless. The Archive's shadowed walls pulsed with scenes of agony and triumph, echoes of thousands of universes blinking in and out of existence. Their steps created ripples through time and memory, the path ahead vanishing behind them. Suddenly, the hollows condensed in the center, forming the mass of the pattern breaker. Now it stood fully formed, a humanoid flickering with starlit cracks, its face an abyss. Energy crackled at its fingertips, the air thick with grief and rage. The pattern breaker's voice thundered. "You should not have come. You will fail as your kind always does." Vex braced himself but forced a smirk. Bold words for a glitch in history. Blue flames flashed from the pattern breaker's arm, striking the ground between them. The archive shook. Marin gritted her teeth. "Focus! Rios, on defense. Priya, show me the feed. Use my link." Priya synced her console to Marin's neural port. "It's mapping the fracture. This whole place pivots on our choices. Our emotions fuel the disruption. It's reading us like code." Arkin's energy shield blossomed as phantasms rose, attacking. "Dispel the illusions. They draw on our guilt." For a heart-pounding minute, memories attacked. Yara's face swirling before Marin, Vex's childhood failures, Rios reliving battle trauma. Priya nearly collapsed, heart-pounding, until she locked eyes with Marin. Marin gripped Priya's hand, voice strong. "You're not alone. Use us. Shut this thing down." Beneath their joined hands, their consoles merged, flashes of their best and worst memories spiraling outward into the archive. The pattern breaker howled, its form destabilizing as hope bled through its rage. Rios fought clear, raising his weapon. "Do it now, Priya! Vex, upload that new code!" Vex's fingers danced, initiating the purge, reversing the anomaly's algorithm. "Hold on!" The chamber went nuclear with energy. The pattern breaker lashed out in all directions. Arkin shielded the team, body shaking under the strain, colors swirling across his skin. Priya's voice broke through. "Code's working. It's rewriting the Nexus. But we need another minute." The pattern breaker stalked toward them, monstrous, hatred pouring off it in waves. "You can never fix what was always broken." Marin stood her ground, sweat and determination writ fierce on her face. "Watch us." A final surge of unity burned in their chests. The archive's shadows pushed in. The turning point was coming. All they could do now was hope they would hold together long enough to finish what they started. Light and shadow fought for dominance as Priya and Vex wrestled with the code, their consoles fusing together in a tangle of human and alien symbols. The pattern breaker, now fractured and flickering, lunged for the team, the air boiling where it reached. Arkin's shield cracked and buckled, sparks leaping across his gleaming skin. Rios fired short, desperate bursts to distract the entity, his discipline wavering but unbroken. Marin forced herself into the pattern breaker's path. Her heart hammered, but her voice didn't tremble. "We've lost people too, you know. Every Riftwalker here knows pain, but we're still fighting. That's what makes us stronger than you." A chorus of phantoms, shattered versions of themselves, swirled around her, whispering every regret. But instead of crumbling, Marin's memories solidified. She remembered Yara's sacrifice, every mistake she'd survived, every chance she'd been given to do better. With tears burning her eyes, she stepped forward, her presence pushing back the dark, one step at a time. Priya's console screamed in warning. "Almost done. The anomaly's unraveling, but it's starting to tear at us now. The archive's forcing us to relive our worst moments." Rios grimaced, lowering his weapon. "Then we give it something stronger." He moved to Marin's side, supporting her. Vex threw his sarcasm away, stepping up too. "You don't want my nightmares, Archive, but take my hope instead." Their unity flooded the code, new algorithms spinning out, hope, resilience, connection. The pattern breaker shrieked, pressed back by the very things it hated most. Arkin, struggling to hold the line as his shield shrank, looked at Marin. "The final key is choice. This place tests will. Your will must shape the Nexus, or it shatters for good." Marin braced herself. "We choose to fight together. We choose to survive, and make amends. Lock it, Priya." Priya slammed the command. Vex executed the purge. Light rushed out in waves, the shadows fracturing. The pattern breaker split open, a void within, bursting apart under the pressure of the team's collective hope and defiance. The archive convulsed, shuddering through 1,000 visions, then stabilized. The screams faded to silence. Exhausted, the Riftwalkers dropped to their knees. Priya breathed. "Anomalies contained. The Nexus. It's healing." The crystalline escort appeared. Faceted features softened. "Your unity is the code the pattern breaker could never break." But as Marin looked deeper into the archive's slowly clearing light, doubt nagged her gut. She dragged herself up and saw, flickering far below, another shadow moving. Something remained. The real threat, she feared, was not yet gone at all. Silence hugged the chamber, a momentary peace settling over the Riftwalkers. Priya rode the high of their victory for only an instant. The archive's holograms began to flicker, stabilizing right up until Marin pointed. Far below the central dais, the shadows hadn't shrunk. They'd pooled, gathering strength behind a crack in the archive's matrix, black heat radiating outward. Vex swore, eyes wide. "Didn't we just kill that thing? Tell me that's just a bug." Arkin shook his head, dread coloring his tone. "This is new. There is another layer, deeper, older. It hides beneath every collapse. I sense intent, not fractured, but focused." The crystalline escort's voice echoed, brittle. "The pattern breaker was only a guardian, an echo of your original sin. But now the heart of the Matrix is exposed. What waits beneath hungers for all life across all rifts." Priya's console lit up, reading the rising energy. "That crack? It's a direct link between realities. We fixed the fracture, but something far bigger is using the repair to climb up." Rios, still battered but steady, set his jaw. "So we call in help? The Council? The Domain armies?" The escort moved between them and the chasm. "Our world's defenses slow it, but time seethes thin. Only Riftwalkers can cross the void. It must be fought at the source in the rift space below." Marin's battered spirit steadied as she shot her team a grim smile. "This is it. The real mission. We go even further down, into whatever speaks from the dark." They armed themselves. Priya pocketed her hybrid scanner. Vex modded his console with stolen domain algorithms. Rios tightened his grip on his last charge cell. Arkin breathed in the flickering air, his skin pulsing with all the colors of fear and courage. A trembling platform of alien light slid beneath them, spiraling toward the crack. The way down ripped at their minds. Visions of 1,000 versions of themselves, twisted futures flashing with every heartbeat. The chasm yawned. Down, down, the Riftwalkers plunged, falling beyond the archive's reach, out of history, out of time, into a rift space so alien even Arkin trembled. Below, the shadows twined and thickened, forming a maw as old as creation itself. As the light of the archive slipped away above and wild energy battered them, Marin turned to her team. Last chance to back out. Rios shook his head. "All the way, Lieutenant?" Vex just grinned. "I don't trust anyone else not to blow up reality." Priya nodded, lips tight but eyes shining. "This time we're all in." Arkin's whisper echoed as they approached the source. "The end is watching us." Together, toes barely touching the bizarre rift-bone ground, the Riftwalkers stepped into the Heart's lair, where the real battle for the multiverse's future was about to begin. The rift space was a nightmare come real, a plane stitched from the dying echoes of every world lost to collapse. The air was heavy and strange, galaxies twisting overhead like hungry serpents. Beneath, the ground rippled and cracked, alive with the pulse of that ancient hunger. The Riftwalkers stood at the edge of a cosmic pit, and from it, the Heart emerged. It was vast, a shifting, many-eyed monstrosity built of flowing darkness and blinding light, speaking in a chorus of voices, some human, others utterly alien. It radiated power, its presence pressing into their minds like a weight. "Why do you persist?" the Heart intoned, its questions crawling into their thoughts. "All cycles end, all connections fray. You clutch hope to your chest, but hope always buckles." Rios clenched his fists, but fear gnawed at him. "It's getting inside my head, like I'm arguing with every regret I ever had." Priya wiped sweat off her brow. "It doesn't want to destroy us. It wants to become us. That's why it pulled on the Nexus, why it fed on every failure, every broken reality. It wants existence, not just oblivion." Vex fired up his console, code shimmering in midair, but the keys glitched and dissolved. "I can't hack something this big. It's rewriting itself faster than I can think." Arkin steadied Marin with an arm. "This is the source, the oldest rift, the tier where possibility itself leaks. Your hope warped it. Only your will can unmake it." The Heart pulsed brighter, shuddering with laughter. "You came so far to die knowing you were wrong." Marin took a halting step forward, every muscle tensed. She remembered Yara, the one she'd lost, every reward and every mistake. "We know cycles end, but beginnings matter too. We're not here to surrender, we're here to choose." The pit yawned, spilling spectral tendrils reaching for them. As the Riftwalkers joined hands, memories of their worst moments surged. Rios's failures on old battlefields, Priya watching her family vanish in a collapse, Vex's betrayals, Arkin's exile from his own kind, Marin's endless guilt. But instead of splintering, they drew closer. Let's make an ending worth the pain we've carried, Marin choked out. Priya's console flared. If we sink all our life signs, we can anchor the Nexus, but only if we make peace with what we've been. Rios squeezed shut his eyes, then opened them with new resolve. No hiding, not anymore. Vex added, let's show it what real connection looks like. Side by side they reached for the ever-shifting heart. Darkness battered them, tried to isolate them, but their unity burned hotter. And as the heart screamed, a sound without beginning or end, the Riftwalkers realized the final battle had only just begun. Above them, the archive flickered in and out. Time twisted. The fate of the multiverse balanced on their next move. If they failed here, all worlds would fall together, and their stories would end before their meaning began. The Riftwalkers stood shoulder to shoulder on the rift space brink, every memory, scar, and hope between them battered by the heart's relentless assault. Shadows hissed, light stabbed. They felt everything they'd ever lost and everything they might yet lose threatening to tear them apart. But something held them steady. Not just resolve, but trust, forged in fire and loss. The heart grew, shimmering between terror and beauty. You are only echoes, fragile signals sent to be forgotten. Marin swayed, knees trembling, then met the void's gaze with a force that surprised even herself. Maybe we're echoes, but echoes deepen, spread, and become more, not less. As the heart lunged, spectral tendrils snaring around them, Priya's console issued a final coded pulse. Linked by neural ports, all 5 Riftwalkers surged with a networked memory stream, not of guilt, but of unwavering unity. Arkan's exile, Vex's betrayals, Priya's painful losses, Rios's broken oaths, even Marin's own haunted history, all of it faced, not buried. Flashes of possibility swarmed them, a million lives, victories, failures. Marin saw her past, saw Yara smiling at the edge of the rift. The pain didn't fade, but she used it. We choose meaning, not just survival, she shouted, pulsing that conviction through the link. The heart wailed, shuddering, the Nexus fracturing around its shriek. You cannot close me. You are not enough. Rios's voice, broken but steady, joined hers. Maybe not alone, but together, we're more than enough. Priya guided the code, redirecting the flow, anchoring the Nexus, now. Vex diverted grief into hope, creativity into raw willpower. Arkan lit the void with color, harmonizing the strands that bound their universes. They poured everything into the core, searing the truth of their connection into the rift space fabric. A blinding wave surged, worlds snapping back into place. The heart convulsed, then shattered, its echoes not erased but woven into the new matrix. A foundation, not a wound. Above, the Nexus stabilized, its portals glowing with new promise. The Riftwalkers collapsed together, spent but alive. The Archive's voice whispered through Arkan, gentle for the first time. Your flaw is your strength. The cycles endure, not because they are perfect, but because you remember, because you choose. For a long time, they only breathed. Then Marin, looking at her mismatched, victorious crew, each tested and changed, smiled, let's go home. As they stepped through the rekindled portal, the crystalline council awaited, awe on their faceted faces. The Matrix is reborn, they intoned, because of you. The multiverse did not forget the Riftwalkers. Their impossible fight echoed across worlds as proof that even the smallest, most broken voices could change the fate of creation itself. And for Marin, that hope, fragile but fierce, was enough to face whatever rift tomorrow might bring.